Hello and welcome to Unbounded Growth, a podcast that challenges you to grow and become a better version of yourself. My name is Mark Allen, and together with my friend Adam, we share thoughts and ideas from the books that we read and how they enhance our personal growth and development. We also host other readers and leaders. We learn from their experiences through our discussions. Our episodes air every Tuesday at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you for listening in, and let's grow together. Unbounded Growth. Hello and welcome to Unbounded Growth, episode 15. I cannot believe it's been 15 weeks that we've been together. My name is Mark Allen, I'm the host. And here, as always, with my friend, for the first time in more than 4 weeks that we are together in our little studio here, Adam Shabindo. How are you doing, Adam?
I'm doing well, Mark. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. It's great to have you back here. I know it's been a few weeks going off and on, sicknesses and everything that's going on, your research, your presentation, your preparation for the project coming up in October. Man,
it's just been some of the you know how they call it in American pop culture the belly of the whale.
You tell me about it.
So it's been just those type of moment where everything is just kind of under a pressure cooker, where you have to try when 24 hours is not enough to fit in one day. So you wish that you could extend the day for 5 more hours. It could be like a 30-hour day. So that's how it's been. But it's going. I'm getting there slowly but surely. I have exactly 1 month. Today is exactly 1 month
until
my presentation to the conference, and then, but successfully, I was able to this past week. I was actually able to form my committee, which was one of my biggest steps as a PhD candidate, is to figure out who is willing to support the work that you are trying to achieve. So it was a quick one. Actually, I was so glad I didn't think it was gonna be that quick.
Right.
I submitted my work to 5 really great professors. When it's a really big name, when you look at their H indexes are really high up there. And 5 of them, they were just, they literally replied within 2 hours. I got all the responses, positive responses, that my work was impressive enough for them to actually come and participate and help me during the next several years to achieve it. So that was one plus. Now from here, just gonna figure it out from here.
That's where the real work starts. I mean, it's heavier, man. I started off this finance class, and it's like every semester I have a commitment to being the best student I can be. And then that commitment, that's like the day after, the day after the semester starts, it's finally, it's like, oh my God, I thought I was going to be great at this and that. But I was about to tell you, man, be grateful you don't have kids yet. It will be a lot more challenging. And I'm grateful I have a child. I was telling Plamedi, my wife, the other day that having a child is such a huge responsibility, but it's also such a huge blessing. It's like every day you wake up just looking at that smile and looking at him playing and growing, and having someone who believes that you're a superhero, who thinks that you can actually move the world with your hands. Just like, it's just amazing. It's an amazing feeling and truly a blessing. I mean, my week has been great. My last week was amazing, but the weekend was busy. I had a 2 MC engagement, a videography engagement, and you don't realize it, but speaking makes you tired.
It does.
Especially when you have to stand and speak for 3 to 4 hours. It really does wear you out. All right, today, before we start on, we get on a rant here about a lot of things. We are going to do a quick review about the books that we've talked about. We won't review the books. We're just going to talk about when we started this. And this is the last episode of our first season. Our second season, we start in 3 weeks from today, 3 weeks from this Tuesday. And we've talked about 5 books, 4?
Yeah, I think it. We started off the first 2 episodes.
The first 2 were about the 12 pillars. And then we talked about the art of influence. We talked about Eat That Frog. And then
we talked about Who Moved My Cheese.
And then finally, we talk about the 15 invaluable
Laws
laws
of
of
growth.
growth.
Yeah.
And those were five incredible books. As a matter of fact, if you do not know yet where to start on the journey of personal growth and development, I think The Art of Influence is a pretty small book that you can pretty much read within a week or maybe 2 weeks at most. Who Moved My Cheese is also an amazing book that you can read it within an hour. As a matter of fact, there's a link on it on YouTube. If you just look for Who Moved My Cheese, you can easily find that and listening to that within an hour
Yeah,
something ish.
and
You know,
it's a short story, so you
exactly.
should.
It's a short story and straight to the point. The 12 Pillars is definitely one of those books that we want to review. Whose laws we are going to review. Of course, in every episode, we're talking about a book. When we started, our goal was, of course, to review a book every week. And then we realized that a book like The 15 Invariable Laws of Leadership, you can give a summary within 15 minutes, but how much you'll learn from that summary. So we changed strategies along the way and started thinking more about like how can we share these lessons and there will be some more changes coming up, but we tell you that before we definitely start our second season. The other thing that we are trying to achieve in our second season is actually start having some video podcasts where we be interviewing people, just talking to them, asking them the journey about their personal growth and development, talking about their books, the work that they're doing out there. And today, the surprise that we promised last week is that we have two of our listeners. One of them is listening to us all the way from Brazil. An amazing gentleman. I mean, you just have to talk to him to see how much this man knows. And he's the man who will teach you how to learn any language within 2 months. I don't know how he did it, but he finally achieved to learn any language within 2 months. And he learned Portuguese and went to sit for an exam without having any prior knowledge of Portuguese in the past. He just learned the language and he wrote a book about it. And I think we learned a lot from his experience. He'll be telling us about his journey. Our second guest is here in Texas, right?
Absolutely. He's here in Texas. He's over in West Texas, actually. He's in the middle of the oil field. So
Making all the bugs.
Yeah, our second guest is he's in Texas, but he's all the way from Angola. The funny thing, actually, that this was just so random pick of two different people that constantly have been listening to us, and it just happened that both of them could actually speak Portuguese.
One thing I cannot do.
That's it. To me, I didn't think about it. It was just like so random, but
Right.
then out of great coincidence, one is from Angola, the other one from Brazil, which are the two biggest Portuguese-speaking countries. I mean, Portugal is very small, so those are really the biggest countries in the world that do speak Portuguese.
Absolutely.
So it's such a great coincidence.
Absolutely. So it's really a pleasure to welcome here today Paul Tambwe, joining us online from Brazil. How are you doing, Paul?
Doing great.
That's
How are you guys
amazing.
doing?
We're doing amazing. And it's
Doing
also a
great.
pleasure to have Nunes Sumbo, all the way from Angola, living here in Texas. How are you doing, Nunes?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking.
Man,
Hope
thanks.
you're doing great.
And thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate it. We appreciate all the work that y'all been doing out there, the comments, the feedback, the support that you've offered. It really does mean a lot, and it's really an honor. Really, we don't take it for granted having you guys here. I know it's already past midnight for Paul, and we are here recording. It really means a lot to us. So to have you here. All right, so. Paul, we start with your journey, and then Nunes, we come back to you, and you tell us about the great company that you built in Angola, leadership at a distance, man. A lot of people do not know how to manage leadership at a distance, and how you doing that, and with in between that, how you managing your life here. But Paul, let's start with your journey. Where you from? Where you grew up? And where are you? How did you get there? What are you currently doing? I want to know everything.
Yeah. Actually, talking about everything would take all the night, but
Yeah, I can imagine. You really have a great story.
yeah, but I will resume in a few, in a short way,
Mhm.
the most essential points that will be relevant for the podcast.
Yes, sir.
So, I'm from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I'm born in Kinshasa. I've grown up in Kinshasa. strangely, I've never got out of Kinshasa,
Mm.
which is strange. Uh, and growing up there, first of all, the first foreign language I had to learn was English.
So let me stop you
Uh,
right there. You're learning English in Kinshasa. Kinshasa, that's a French speaking country. How do you learn English, and how are you so well versed in English, having never lived in an English speaking country?
well, first of all, my father was like, he's the kind of person who uh, give us some advices about how the world works, and so.
Hmm.
So it was like, okay, you guys are growing up, you should learn English
Hmm.
because today the world of the business world works with English. And I was like, I know that's the stuff of dads. They always tell us children to do this and that.
Hmm.
And I remember when I was in primary school, in my first contact with English,
Mm.
I was like, this stuff is not for me. I will not be learning. So the one special thing my dad did was like he didn't he was telling us to learn English, but what actually made me learn English was that during the vacations one day I was tired of playing of joking with my friends,
Hmm.
and I wanted to read something.
Hmm.
So in my father's bookcase there was a book. I actually forgot
Recording in progress.
I actually forgot the title of the book,
Hmm.
but it was a book he used to learn English when he was in fourth or sixth grade or something.
Hmm.
So I picked up the book and I started to read. The book started in French,
Mm.
and I actually noticed that I was understanding the book, and I was like, okay, English might not be that hard.
Mm.
And in within 2 months, I was able to understand the basic of English.
Hmm.
Then going to school, I jumped from zero to basic.
How old were you when you were learning that?
I was about 11 or 12 years old
Wow, I was not
when I
that
did that.
focused. I was not that focused at that age. There's nothing you could convince me to learn other than playing. That's amazing.
So
Mhm.
I started to read the book and I understood. And at school, I was also curious, asking
Mhm.
questions and answering to the questions of professors, of
Mm.
teachers. Then, just by curiosity, I was like, I can read
Mhm.
and I can understand my professors, but what about the natives?
Mm.
What if I listen to an American speaking, because I was impressed listening to an
Mhm.
American speaking or a British person? I was like, okay, I will have to try to understand those people.
Mhm.
And then I started to listen to uh, some songs. I've grown up listening to gospel songs, and
Mhm.
even today I listen too much.
Mm.
And I was actually looking for the lyrics, and it helped me a lot to
Mm.
get some vocabulary. And something else I did is that I always had a translator in my cell phone
Mhm.
to check on new words. I was like, if I'm walking on the street and I see a drugstore, maybe the drugstore's name is Drugstore Grace, and I was looking for, oh, what would be grace in English?
Mhm.
And then I pick up my translator and type on it, and I was finding the word.
Mhm.
But the other problem I had was like, how can I actually apply it?
Mm.
And it was crazy, but sometimes I was obliged to speak to myself, imagining myself in a conversation with someone.
I wish I had a camera
That's
filming you.
Yeah, because in a city like Kinshasa, you don't have someone to
To
discuss
discuss with,
uh,
yeah.
about. Yeah, you literally don't have.
Mhm.
So I was obliged to do it, and I profited also when some of my friends traveled.
Mm.
When Adam traveled, he went to the United States. I was like, okay, Adam, now that you're in the United States and you're learning English, can you please speak with me only in English?
Mm.
And it was already in 2014, and he was like, okay, we got a deal. I was like, super. And with Adam, I've learned a lot. He actually has been my English teacher for many years, and he doesn't even know it.
yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
I was asking questions. We were talking about basic topics,
Mhm.
all the things that we were talking about, remembering all the memories of school and so on.
Mhm.
But we were doing it in English.
Right.
So the same context in a different language, and it helped me grow a lot. And I was just amazed that when I came to Brazil, I met a Nigerian who was unable to speak Portuguese, and I was the only one person to be able to welcome him in his new space.
Wow.
And it also was an opportunity for me to test my English. And I was like, okay, now my English is good. If a native can understand me, so I can be in peace. And he even told me that, man, your accent is American. Are you from the United States? I was like,
wow.
I'm from DRC. I've learned with the influence of gospel and so on. But this is about English. Now, about Portuguese, it was, I wanted to travel. I was tired of staying in Congo, studying there, because I was doing medicine there. And I entered there because I wanted to do to prove to myself that I was able to actually pass the test and be admitted to the medicine school of the University of Kinshasa. And I did. But it was actually not my passion. And I remember it was in 2015, I asked my dad if I could travel, because I was like, Dad, I feel like traveling because now I just don't feel myself in my space here.
So let me ask you this. You said you went into med school, but it wasn't your passion. What inspired you? Why did you go into it?
I think it was a question. First of all, it was influence of friends, because when you do biochemistry in Kinshasa, everybody
expects you to go to med school.
Yeah.
Go to med school.
Makes
and
sense,
as a little child, I was telling to my father, okay, I will do medicine. And genetically, I think this is a question of genetics, because my dad wanted to be a doctor, a physician. He wanted.
So you kind of wanted to honor him.
Yeah. So he actually he's not, because there was no way for him to afford a med school. And when he heard me saying that I would like to be a physician, he was happy, and he invested in me. He did everything he could. Then on the day I went to tell him that I want to move away, he was kind of disappointed. Something else, one of the other reason was also that I was trying to challenge myself and see if I could pass to the med school. And I passed. Then I told him I want to travel. And my father answered, he didn't say yes, and he didn't say no. I think he said a no of a cool way, so that I would not be
discouraged or something.
Discouraged or disappointed. He just told me, actually, as things are still going on for you, everything is doing okay, stay here. I had to wait 4 years before traveling.
Wow.
So yeah, because when you know the men of African fathers,
yes,
they have a specific.
And within those 4 years, what were you doing?
Keeping doing medicine, but in underground, I was going to embassies and seeing if there is an opportunity of scholarship. I went to the Canadian embassy, to the United States embassy, see if I could find out a way. But when your dad doesn't support you in something like this,
sometimes it just doesn't work.
No issue. Yeah. But one day, it just came to pass that someone came and told me that I could come to Brazil and study. And I was like, what? Why Brazil? Because that country is a country for people who want to have a fun, for tourists, for...
That's all you think about when you think of Brazil.
Exactly. The stereotypes that sometimes we have about
Rio de Janeiro.
Right? And all the beaches and the water and,
Yeah, I was like, what am I going to do there? Because it's a country of soccer, women, and it's all the cocktail of all the things that I should not have for studying. And that person just told me it's a good country. Some people are studying there. I was like, whoa, wait. And second, I will have to study in which language? Then he taught me Portuguese, and I hated Portuguese at that time because I will even have to apologize for Nunes, because the accent that people from Angola speak Portuguese was, for me, was not so good. It didn't give me the taste to learn the language.
Right.
So it came to pass that everything I tried didn't work for any other country, just for Brazil, because I came here by a miracle. I've been selected as the only one person for the last list to be taken. And I traveled. Then when I traveled, I came to Brazil. I knew that I just will have 6 months to learn the language. For English, it was quite easy. I had no specific purpose. I just wanted to be able to speak.
Right.
But for Portuguese, I knew that I'm going to study. My lexical field should be really wide. And I just have 6 months. And I was afraid, even if I tried to learn English by myself, I was afraid of Portuguese because, first of all, it was a language I didn't like. And second, Portuguese has much more rules than English, talking about the grammar.
So would you think that Portuguese is a little bit compared to French when it comes to grammar and things like that? Or is it more complex?
If I make a scale of complexity of those three languages, I think that French is more complex. Then comes Portuguese. Then in the last position you have English.
Right.
Yeah, and even a lower American English, because over here we freestyle everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we jump at whatever we wanted, so there's no complexity whatsoever over here.
Right.
We just say, yeah. You is.
Yeah, literally.
Actually, I was listening to Steve Harvey, and he was telling this joke when he started on television on NBC, and they gave him a linguistic teacher. At that time, he said he didn't even know what a linguistic teacher was. He said, no, we want to make sure that you speak the correct English. And then he said to the lady, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then the lady was like, wait, what did you say? He said, I am finna do that. And it was like, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And then Steve Harvey, at the end of that joke, he says that, ask the question, which one is better? I am broke or I'm is rich? That's a joke about the languages. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Paul.
It was a big challenge for me because I knew that 6 months is just a few moments for a language I didn't know, I didn't like. But I accepted to travel. I accepted the challenge because I was like, I'm going in a place I don't know. Maybe things are not exactly what I think things are over there. So I accepted to travel. And when I came, before coming, I just picked up some videos where they teach Portuguese for foreigners, for travelers, for tourists. And I knew some few words, for example, toilets, asking about the streets.
Of course, those are the two first things. Those are the first things you want to make sure you know.
Of course. But when I came, I noticed that I couldn't actually communicate because I could say those words. The natives could understand me, but I was unable to understand the way they were answering me because of the accent and the velocity they were talking with. I was like, I just can't catch them. And at that moment, I decided if I want to survive in this country, I will have to learn their language and as fast as I can. And the program of interchange I'm a part of, it works basically like this. We come as coming from a French country speaking. We come here, we learn the language. We have 6 months. We pass a test of Portuguese. And those who will succeed will stay here getting a scholarship to study. Those who will not succeed are supposed to go back to Congo, or whatever country they come from. And I knew that if I mess up, my dad will not welcome me at the airport. For sure wouldn't do that.
Right.
So I decided, okay, I just have a plan A and a plan B. My plan A is learn Portuguese and pass the test. My plan B is make the plan A work.
I like that.
So when we started our classes, I started to learn by myself Portuguese rules, and I had a list of 50 verbs that are supposed to be the most used by the natives here. And I knew those verbs and what they mean, and I started to learn a bit of conjugation by myself before we start class. Then when we start class, after 2 months, I went to see my professor and told him, I would like you to evaluate me speaking Portuguese, because all that we're doing is writing texts.
Right.
But I know that to interact with the people outside, I need to speak. And as I'm an introvert person, it was pretty hard for me to make new friends and so on. And he accepted. I recorded an interview with him, and he evaluated me.
Right.
And from that moment, I started to practice. Because first of all, the background I had in English, learning English helped me a lot, because I knew the basic I should know for communication to make an understandable sentence and express my opinions and my idea.
All right, so
in the most simple.
Let's talk about that. What are the basics that anybody needs to know when you're learning a new language? And I know it's a little portion, it's a portion of your book, but I want to have some of it. Like, what are the basics that if I want to start speaking Spanish today, what are the basics that I should know in order for me to make that transition?
Actually, the most important part of a sentence, according to me, according to the experience I got, is the verb. You're supposed to know verbs, because when you tell someone you are unable to express an entire sentence, just a verb can give an idea about what you want to talk about.
Good point. Yeah.
Because a verb in itself can be an understandable sentence, because when you tell someone get out, that person understands.
Right.
It's not a complete sentence, but
right.
You literally understand what you mean.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
And verbs, then personal pronouns, then possessive pronouns. So the verbs and the pronouns are the basic to know. And then the rest is just expanding your lexical field. Know as much words as you can, as many words as you can.
Okay.
Then when you have all of that, you can go making simple sentences, and with the time and the grammar rules you're learning, you can make complex sentences. But this is technical.
Yeah.
So I knew that this is the process for me, and this is what I tried to do. I remember sometimes when I was about to go buy something in the supermarket, I always had my translator to see. Tapping on it, then I see, and I go there to the supermarket and buy it. And it worked a lot of times. So basically, I'm not the only one person who had learned Portuguese in 6 months. A lot of people did it. But what actually made me write the book is, first of all, for that reason, because I'm not the only one person. So it means that it's an ability that anybody can acquire.
Right.
So the second reason is that people think here in Brazil, particularly because a lot of people here in Brazil just speak Portuguese. And before coming to Brazil, I thought that because they are natives who are Amerindians, they have their own languages. But when I came, I noticed that those people are living in Amazonia. They have the campaigns, the villages. And when they come to the city, they have to get accustomed to the city, to the to a different environment. So basically, the average the Brazilian doesn't speak another language, and people speaking two languages or 3 languages are seen sometimes as genius. And I was shocked of that. I was shocked about that reality, because in DRC, at least anybody speaks 2 languages
at minimum. Yeah.
And I was like, how can they live in a world of more than 1,000 languages and they only speak 1?
Right.
And they themselves say that they don't even speak very well the Portuguese.
Like American, like American with English.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they say that when we foreigners come and learn their language, we speak better than themselves.
Wow.
And all the time, people were asking me the question, so how have you done to learn Portuguese in 6 months? We know it's one of the hardest languages. How have you done?
Mm-hmm.
So as that question was coming all the time, and people were coming, can you teach me French, please? Can you teach me English? And I started. And I noticed that there are two types of people. The one that really learns, and the other one who just comes and pick up some lessons, but ends up not speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Then I try to understand what makes one speak and the other one not speak.
Mm-hmm.
And then I evaluated what they did, what both of them do, and I understood the reason of of that difference. And then I decided, okay, as I know now the reason why some people learn, and I know the process of learning a language, and I know why people go to a specialized school of languages and they don't speak, I can actually tell to people what makes them become fluent and what will make them go to a specialized school of languages and just lose their money.
Right.
So I decided, okay, I'll write a book about it to have Portuguese, because I also thought like this. And it's something that you guys talked a lot about in the podcast. How can I contribute to make my environment better? I speak more than 2 languages, and people here have this problem of communication. So how can I help them? So I decided to write a book. And I entitled the book, if you allow me, I can first of all tell the title in Portuguese, then I will.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, English. Yeah. I can
The
at least pick up some Portuguese today.
Good. I think the news can understand me. The title of the book is Guia para Aprender Línguas Estrangeiras Sem Desperdiçar Dinheiro.
You know, I heard aprender.
Aprender. Me too.
I told you.
The aprender part.
Yeah, the aprender part. I got it.
And in English would be Guide for Learning Foreign Languages Without Wasting Money.
That's a good one.
And yeah, and I divided the book into 3 parts. In the first part, I tried to explain why it's hard to learn a new language. Just to give a little spoiling about it, is that people are going for different reasons. People don't have the same why. And even having the same teacher, they would not have the same progress, because they're not coming for the same reason. The one that comes because you want to go out for studying will not learn the same way as the one who just want to go for tourism.
So the first part of the book deals with, why do you want to learn?
Yeah, the why. And the why makes all the difference, because the teacher needs the average, at least his class should be above the average. But people have different grades and have different types of different progress, because some dedicate themselves more than others. It doesn't mean that some are have more aptitude. Just a question of dedication. So this is one of the reasons. And in those schools, they actually want to make money. First of all, they know you have a problem. They want to solve your problem.
Right.
But if the solution works for you or not, it's on you. It's not on them.
Right.
So basically the effort depends, the being fluent or not depends on the person, first of all, not on the school or the teacher. After all, they are paid, so they get the money. The only one losing in all that story is the learner. So in the second part of the book, I try to explain about what I said. What are the most important things for communication, for the language, to know about learning a new language? First of all, the point is that communication is an important part of humanity evolution, because just imagine a project like sequencing the human genome.
Right.
some years ago, scientists from all the world. Can you imagine such a project without communication? No way. The Babel Tower in the Bible was a question of communication. Just the Achilles heel of those people was communication.
Right.
Communication was actually their main point, their strength. Once they didn't understand themselves anymore.
Fighting. Yep.
Exactly. So communication is a tricky point. And I talked about it. First of all, people communicate because it makes the life better. It helps dealing with life in a more efficient way. I have an ability and another one has another. So if we communicate, we can put our efforts together and get some results, reach some goal. And I also try to explain that if in a language, the verb is more important and you don't need all those grammar rules to speak efficiently a language and to be understood, then what's the grammar for in the language?
Right.
And the point is that grammar serves for making your ideas or your opinion understandable for the others. Because the more words you have in a sentence, the more grammar you need. So it's as simple as that. I explained it in the book. And I also try to talk about the place of technologies, because people actually, here in Brazil specifically, when you talk to people and they don't understand you, they notice that you speak English or French, the first reflex is to go to Google, because Google is everybody's teacher.
Right.
Google knows everything, so he can translate, and they go to translate, but sometimes the sentences that Google actually gives you doesn't reflect.
Accurate. Yeah, they're not, especially when you speak both languages.
It's like recently Google is translating Lingala.
Yeah,
it's some of the funniest thing I ever seen.
Yeah, and you guys can notice that Google is not translating Lingala as we Congolese have the habit of speaking Lingala.
That's right.
Why? Because Google is actually an informatic system. It's a binary language. Binary language is made of 1 and 2, of 1 and 0.
Zeros, yeah.
1 and 0. And with that, it's not enough to express all about human language, because human language is complex. You have cultural components therein. Just an example, in Nigeria, they have an expression. They often tell people, thunder fire you, when they are angry or something. I don't know if in United States it has the same meaning.
No, not at all.
Not at all. Try translating thunder fire you in Portuguese. That would be crazy using Google. Even in America, actually, try to bring that to American English.
Like, it won't make sense.
They won't make sense.
It won't make sense at all. Yeah.
And even for Portuguese, some expressions are used here in Brazil that for Nunes, for example, would be, he may know the word, but it will definitely not have the same meaning.
Right.
So all those things makes that human language is so complex that we cannot resume it in a binary system. So the binary system serves for a reason. Maybe it helps to understand maybe the meaning of a word, but it's not enough to translate an entire sentence and put it in the right context.
Yeah.
So I try to explain. And in the book, in the last part of the book in Portuguese, I try to explain what are the attitudes that someone is supposed to have for learning a new language. And first of all, not giving up, because it's a long process. It doesn't come in. It's not a magic to happen in just a day.
Right.
Second, not comparing yourself to others, because when people go there and they see others speaking and they actually don't speak
you feel intimidated.
Same velocity.
Yeah, you definitely feel intimidated.
But the problem is that it doesn't depend on the teacher you have or the environment you guys are learning in. The problem is the efforts everyone does in underground and the purpose. And those efforts depends on the purpose that each one have.
Right.
it makes all the difference.
And for you, the purpose was too strong. You didn't want to go back home.
Exactly. I knew that my dad would not receive me in the airport and tell me,
Well,
son.
I know there's definitely a lot more to learn from you, and I know once the English version of the book comes out, and until my Portuguese gets better to have a full show in Portuguese, we wait for your English version to come out and go into details, talk about the book, and with some practical examples when it comes to English and when it pertains to other languages, how we can learn. Now, I have a few questions for you.
Go ahead.
The first one is, how and at what point in your life did the socket went on and you say, I want to start developing myself, and what triggered that?
It basically happened during the pandemic in 2020. I went through a phase where I felt that I was purposeless. Because I was supposed to go to university, start my classes, and it didn't happen. And I can tell you that I stayed home. Actually, I'm even disappointed with myself. I stayed home watching TV shows of more than 100 episodes.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that. I've done that before. So welcome to the club.
Then after a while, I started to feel like I don't have money. I'm angry with everybody, and life just became a mess up. My life just became a mess. Then I started to think, actually, what can I do to at least give a sense to my life? And I remember at that time I read a scripture in the Bible, Matthew chapter 25, where Jesus talks about the parable of talents. He gave 5 to one, 2 to another, 1 to the last, and told them, okay, I'm going for a very long trip, and when I come back, I want you guys to multiply the talent, make them worth something. And the 2 first did something, of course, and the last one didn't. And I was like, okay, this sounds like a rebuke for me, because I have an ability that I'm not using right. I can speak languages. I even taught French to other people. So what can I do to actually improve other people's life? Because I need my life to be meaningful. I need people to remember me for something that I have done. Right. And I decided, okay, I will have to write down the process I went through for learning 2 different languages, because people always ask me the question about how I did. And it was also an opportunity to learn a new ability. And to learn that new ability and reach that purpose, I needed to change my mindset. I literally needed. I started to read some books and listen to some other ones. And I have learned a lot listening books. I started with Rich Dad Poor Dad that everybody always have read at least once. Books. One of the books that Adam doesn't like.
Think and Grow Rich. I saw that one coming.
What do you think of Think and Grow Rich, by the way? I want to get another opinion there.
I mean, he's grown rich. You can tell.
I mean, yeah, of course, he wrote the book and he put a big title on it and literally million copies sold. And he became
it's everybody.
rich.
You can't argue that. Yeah. So, Paul, what are your thoughts? We want to have a different opinion. Adam always disagrees with me, and Nunes, we also want to hear your thoughts if you've read that book.
So,
for sure.
So about the book, what actually gave me the taste for listening to the book. I actually didn't read. I listened to the book. But what gave me the taste was that I was watching a video on YouTube of an African entrepreneur, who resumed in 5 points what Napoleon Hill recommends.
Hey, can you send that video to Adam?
Yeah, definitely he's gonna, as an entrepreneur, they will understand themselves, so it will make sense. It will make some sense. So the point was so clear, and at that moment he said that every rich person in this world have at least applied it or read the book. I was like, oh, so we got a key uh, for success here. So I heard the video, and at the end I decided, okay, I will go try to find out the book. And I started to listen to the audio version, and I really appreciated the book. But the book I really appreciated from Napoleon Hill was Outwitting the Devil. That actually was an interesting from him. I really appreciated the book. And if I can mention some other books that really helped me in my journey.
Yes, that'll be great. That was actually my second question. Your book recommendations.
Yeah. Some of the books from Robert Kiyosaki.
Rich
one
Dad,
book
Poor
I
Dad.
really that's it, the basic. But two other books that I actually like are Increase Your Financial IQ, which is an interesting book, and the Cash Flow Quadrant, because when I listened to the Cash Flow Quadrant, I understood that this pattern of studying, going to college, getting your degree, finding a job, doesn't actually, it's not actually the only one way you can generate money.
Good point.
And I understood that there are other ways of generating money. As an entrepreneur, for example, working as a freelancer is also another way of investing money. And at that moment, I understood that I can have a profession, but the way I generate money doesn't depend on my profession. It depends on the way, the system I choose to generate money.
Paul, you're going ahead of us. You're going ahead of us. We need to talk about that book, and we definitely have you around where we come to when it comes to talking to that book. You're just making me excited about getting the book right now and starting to read it. That's amazing, Paul.
Okay, and another book I have read that I actually appreciated was a book from Malcolm Gladwell. Tipping Point. Interesting book also.
Yeah, I read and, David and Goliath. That was also another good one from Gladwell. Yeah.
And another one. That one actually was from. I actually forgot the name of the author, but the title of the book is the Laws of Human Nature. And I remember Robert Greene.
Robert Greene. Yep. I have a copy of it here.
And there is another book. There is an. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, I have a copy, but I've never read it. It just looks like a dictionary to me, and it's a huge one. But definitely on my reading list.
Yeah, I actually listened to the book, an amazing book, because I had problem of dealing with people, and that book explains you why people are narcissistic, why people behave the way they behave, and he gave examples on that on those type of personalities. Which is also an amazing thing.
Let me go to the right question, and we get Nunes to share with us as well. What do you think about unbounded growth? What have you learned from unbounded growth? What have you learned from us, and what do you think we can improve?
Unbounded growth. I first of all will have to congratulate you guys for the amazing job that you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Because the books that you guys are talking about and the topics that you guys are talking about in the podcast are exactly what people actually need to thrive professionally, academically, to thrive even even socially, spiritually also. Because those topics make people ask the right questions they need to ask themselves. Not just questions that people, purposeless people, excuse me to say that, but because people would not ask themselves. But those questions oblige the person that are listening to the podcast to challenge themselves. And I have to confess that all the time I listen to the podcast, I look at myself and I just think that I'm not just at. I mean, it's hard for me to explain it, but I will try to make it in a simple way. I would like to become what you guys are talking about.
So
and when I look at myself, I'm like,
all of us are aiming for
I'm
that,
like,
to be honest.
Striving for it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have a lot of steps to reach, to pass. It's a long process, and I have to deal with a lot of things. And actually, I would like to learn new things, which are also important. And the process of learning those things, I think that you guys are talking about all of this. Because developing oneself, as you guys say, unbounded growth, all the point is the personality, the mindset. And that's the main point for any progress, any success. And just listening to the podcast every week is just amazing. Just challenging, first of all, then amazing. And I even have people actually around me telling me, but you're already above the average. And when I look at myself, I'm like, no. There is a lot of people just above me, and I would like to reach them. Because I would like to expand my limits. And unbounded growth is the I would say, the perfect place, or the most recommendable space, the most recommendable podcast for that. That's why I decided, okay, all the time they will be talking about a book, I'll be listening to that. Giving suggestions is also something interesting, because I also know that you guys will definitely need. You have a purpose and you want to reach that purpose, and it would be interesting to help you.
Yes, sir.
Any other question?
No, I think
can answer.
This will do it for now. I don't know if Adam has another question, but as I told you, in the next 3 weeks we'll be on break, and we'll be reaching out to you a lot to have some more discussions with you. Adam, anything else?
Yeah, no, I think you asked all the most important question.
Man,
I would like
you nailed it.
To just flip directly to Nunes. And how are you doing, Nunes?
I'm doing great.
Man, thank you so much for joining us. You don't even know how excited I am. Adam, if you have a cheerleader, that's your guy right here. Like, he cheers up so much on you. Like, he talks so much about you that I'm like, okay, when am I gonna meet him again?
Really?
Yeah, he's a young man that I've seen develop. I've seen him step by step actually being very intentional with a lot of things, and I really hope, I will surely hope that he's gonna be sharing some of that with us today. And we're just gonna proceed the same way that we did with Paul. And so Nunes can just take us through the story coming from Cabinda, not even Luanda. Because you talk about, I'm going to explain a little bit what Cabinda is for people who don't know Cabinda. Cabinda used to be a Congolese territory from about west of Congo and a little bit northwest of Congo, if I can say. And then Congo and Angola made an exchange because Congo did not have access to the sea. And now they had to exchange the space. Congo gave, and back then it was called Zaire. Zaire gave the space to Angola. And in exchange, Angola gave the sea area
to Congo.
So it's a place that is it's really secluded from any other places. It's a place that the government also, since the area is very rich,
right,
the government doesn't want that area to develop or people to even be better. So they lack basic things like transferring money, for example, from how we take MoneyGram for granted over here.
Western Union.
Yeah, Western Union. Over there, it's a huge challenge. You have to go through Luanda, which is
Wow.
basically to go to Luanda. If you're driving, you gotta actually go through Congo.
So you leave Angola, you go to Congo and back to Angola.
Back to Angola.
Just to go in your own country.
Just to go in your own country.
Wow,
so yeah, and the only way in and out of Cabinda is by plane.
That's even more challenging.
To Luanda. So you can imagine coming from that area to now to the world. So that's what I would like for Nunes to share with us a little bit. How was that transition coming from that area and now going to on the world stage?
All right, Nunes, the world is all ears. You got a stage.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I will, yesterday, Adam actually texted me like, "Hey, would you join us on a podcast?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's actually great." And I mean, it's really a good opportunity to be here with y'all. And it's been a journey, being listening to the podcast, and today actually make part of it and have a word to the world. I think is a great thing. So, Nunes from Cabinda to the U.S. After I was done with high school, I was supposed to be done by 2018, but unfortunately, the government actually added the 13th grade for internship, and
that's me. Listen, you don't add any school to my schooling. Like once I'm done with school, I don't care what you add. I'm out.
I mean, I didn't really have any way out, but I mean, I just went out, and I actually was able to. We were one of the first person selected to go for internship for an oil company, kind of huge oil company called Petromar in Angola. They work directly with Chevron. So I was there for about 6 months doing welding, pipe fitting, and it was really great experience from like just welding and all that. And now also for the professional part, but also the personal part, really deal with people that have been in the industry and feel really a great mindset and be doing great things. And that was really great. So my plan was actually going to Canada. I had to leave Angola. I went to South Africa twice to try to get a visa, but unfortunately they refused me the visa twice.
I do know that challenge.
Like, yeah, and my dad was like, you know what, let's just wait and see if there's. I'm like, no, that's not going to work. Let's just try the American visa. And after like, I think it was a week, we got an interview and got here. So I got here in 2020. I went straight to Arkansas, a little town in Magnolia. I got here on was a Thursday night and just had to take a test the next day for English. And if like you're an American student, yeah, you have to take English the next day. You gotta take English. So I was like, okay, no problem, take the English. And then when the COVID hit, everything went online, and that was it. And last year in I think it was in May. I think that was where I was just going through Instagram. That's where I actually get in touch with Adam and all that. So like, hey, you know what? Hey, leave Arkansas, come here to school. Was actually not as good. And when I got in Dallas, that was actually the first time where we met in person and actually stayed for up to 3 months, which was kind of weird way to actually come together and meet. I mean, just got this the way, the wonderful ways. So it's been really a great journey.
Yeah, one of the questions that I actually do have is when did you learn English? Because Cabinda is either Lingala or Lingala and Portuguese. So when did you transition to English?
Well, a transition from English was, if I'm not mistaken, was in 2014. So my parents were kind of parents who actually really very encouraged on our personal success. Me and my brothers have courses and certification of like most of areas of businesses, marketing, and we always got into those courses. And was just kind of preparing us to the actual world. I have courses in businesses and all those type of stuff. And that was the first thing they introduced us was English after Lingala in French. So I started learning English from that's what they call like a center where they actually goes out of school. That's where we actually start learning English with my brother Tito, which is in Dallas there with Adam. So from there, that's where we actually started learning English. Like we have levels 1, 2, 3, and 5. That's where we actually get to learn English. And when I got here, I was just already speaking English very well and just have to adapt more on American way. So that was the transition from as a Portuguese, French, Lingala to English. It was a little bit challenging, but I think it was a great experience. And one of the best things that helped a lot was usually every Saturday we had like club meetings whereby all the students come together and then just have interaction, we talking, we have like kind of speeches from other people coming. So it was really a great experience coming from Portuguese and English. And today we just like back in the day really have not that much impact or not much thoughtful of that, but today we actually helped me a lot. Like I look back, I'm like, oh, that actually was the best thing I could do to actually be fluent today and get really good as we are here today, because I had a friend in Houston. She did like a year and a half just learning English. Yeah, I was like, okay, that's gonna happen. So that was actually the transition from Portuguese to English.
Yeah, and just to follow up on that, and so you came from Cabinda to Arkansas. And from
That's right.
Yes, in Arkansas, you had to start your school program over there, and from Arkansas to Dallas, and moving forward. Now, the next question that I'm gonna jump into here is more of on the business aspect. When did you realize that you should do more than just going to school? And I'm asking that because the average person, the average student, school doesn't really teach you that you should go into business. Mm-hmm. Most people try to go into business. This is the process. And Nunes, I've known Nunes for a while, so Nunes is trying to go for an engineering program. Mm-hmm. This is how it works in engineering. You get a bachelor degree. Mm-hmm. Most people do that, who are engineers today. Mm-hmm. They go work in the industry, 5, 10 years, 15 years. And then from there, they branch out.
They become managers.
Of course, they become managers, and then they create a firm.
Right.
So you come 3, 4 engineers together, you create an engineering firm. Most companies that are led by engineers are companies that are firms of engineers where they are mostly doing like helping other people. There's no innovation mostly. There is just, okay, it's civil engineering work. It's standard. It's mechanical engineering work. It's air conditioning. It's standard for everybody. And most of them are professional engineers and so on. So, but now having a spirit, you are a freshman in college. You just got started with college and directly you want to be into business. What was the tipping point? Where did you realize that you should actually do business?
Well, for me, I think it's just kind of, I would say a gift. I already had this entrepreneurial mindset. I remember back in second grade, like 6th grade, always still high school, I always has this mindset of actually creating and helping other people. I give an example, was like usually we have this, we do like pretty much over like presentation whereby you have to write reports, do a PDF presentation. So I was the kind of person whereby when you have those kind of things, the whole class look at me like, hey, what's up? You have to do it. So I'll have them do the work and then they pay me and I'll like flip styles and all that. So that was kind of hustle, like from 6th grade to high school. And in 2016, and then also I was really someone really passionate about like handwork. I'm really good with hands. And I remember I started working on a mechanical shop we called Garage in Lingala, I think. When I was 8 years old, I had an uncle who was going to like, yeah, I'm going to go to and stay there for like a year. So 2016, I went back. I was working on a mechanical shop whereby we actually make screws. And I think you should know that back in Congo, it's called tourner. I think those people actually, I don't know, it's like more of metal mechanics, so make tools and adaptation and all those stuffs. So I stayed there for a year, and the next year I was like, I'm not really comfortable here. I gotta start something myself. So I talked to my dad, so like, hey, I need welding machines, I need this material and all that. So like, why do you need to just give it to me? I'm gonna start my own shop at home. And I was like, okay, cool, and made it available. So I got all those machines at home, and I'm there. I didn't know anything about weldsmith, anything. So I hired someone who was actually in the field, was a master in it. Mm-hmm. So we started working together for 6 months, and then he left. So I started there by myself. So I still working there by myself. So I actually was doing making gates, structures, and all those stuff by myself, and with help of some other people. So it was actually, that's where kind of the start and of all the stuff I've been doing. So when I got here, I think from the 2020, I think the visions got starting a little bit bigger. So I think getting more connected to the internet and listening to like higher achievers and people who actually have made it at some point of life. So that's gonna actually open my mind into like, hey, you gotta really get serious into entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. So I really have an idea. My mom was somebody was like, hey, you know what? You gotta go to school and get a good job as an engineer. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna open a company and actually hire people. Now me actually going to be hired by someone. So that was really, as a kid, that was always in my mind. And so these all things like kind of get more connected to the internet and connect to actually the right thing, listen to the right thing and reading to the right stuff. So it actually opened my mind into entrepreneurial things. And the thing was, as Adam said, most of the times we have this, we kind of just follow this standard, like, hey, you go to school, you get to work for a few years and then open a company. And for me, it was like kind of, I'm not really somebody who will actually follow those standards. So I'll actually start right now, and then whenever I'm finishing college or university, I actually have something working out, or even not working out, but already have an experience in like exactly studying business, managing leadership and all those stuffs. So for me, it was more of trying to acquire as most stuff as I can as experiences, because I think that's kind of more important things. It was really challenging for my parents, like, hey, you gotta stop there, you gotta actually focus on your school more and all that, and like you say, nah, I'm not doing that, I gotta do that. I remember I remember last month I called my dad, said like, hey, send me your bank details, send him like $100, and it was like, oh, what's that money for? To chill and go. As I say, like, oh, thank you. I say, oh, you say thank you. I say I shouldn't do business. Now you say thank you. The money just, and it's okay. So that's what actually, and that's why I'm being really concerned about. That's even what actually made me get into personal development, because I wanted to get it so bad. And so I think was more of like, hey, you gotta get this stuff serious, and you gotta start actually working on that, on small things to the bigger things. So I think all started with a small mindset, just a mindset, and then when actually come to the bigger words. So you gotta be having more visions and trying to see more stuff, so that actually open their minds. And I think it's just something within myself, it's just being just creating, helping people through what I know and what I can do, basically.
Yeah, and just a follow-up before I go to the question on personal development, I would like for you to just tell us about your company. What is it that you do, and what drew you to that industry? Why not another industry, and why that specific industry that you are in? And apart from that, how is it like managing it at the distance?
And I think that's a very good question.
Yeah, that's something I would also like to learn from personally, because I do manage my company from a distance and from several miles away. In fact, and something we might be having in common is that I never actually even been there since the beginning of the company.
Right.
Until now. We launched Bora in 2020. Until now, I'm in the US. I have not been in Congo. So something I would like to know is what industry you're in, why you chose that industry, and also how do you manage the company at a distance?
Well, first of all, companies NSTs was just like my initials, Nunes Sumbo, and it's kind of have a few branches within the company. So it's just a centered company, and then on below is like kind of a hierarchy. They have different fields. The first field was actually the media, and I got into the media. Why? Because actually, first of all, talking specifically for my city, Cabina, which is up north, as Adam mentioned a few minutes ago. It's actually before you go actually get to other place of the country, you have to take a plane, a flight, or you go through Congo and then you go back to Angola. So for me, was and the media in Angola was kind of more centered. So pretty much everything happened in Luanda, and everything that is in the media, everything that's the internet is in Luanda. So for me, from that town whereby the thing was just really close and really limited, so I decided to go into media because I wanted to give actually the visibility to the word of the city, whereby on any like on stuff that been happening within the city, the people, the talents of people, and all those kind of stuff. So for me, it was actually take the expertise of people, the knowledge, the news, everything, to put it and take actually, instead of just centered a media in Luanda, which is the capital of the country, but take everything within the city that we can and put it to the word. But actually, like, hey, we also exist. This is what we do. This is what we can do. This is the stuff that happening. This is a people that can do this stuff. People seeing and information about the city and all those kind of stuff. So almost for the media part was most actually to actually get the city to the word, take the people and take our history, our everyday life to the word through the internet, through the television. So that was the that was actually the first reason why I got into media. And then the other part was just actually servicing providing, where it was like people just normal stuff. They have photographers, videographers, people go take pictures and register those great moments. And back in a few years, that was something that was really kind of rarely done, and whenever it's done, it's too expensive. So I wanted to do something with, and then also we're like kind of old, outdated. So I need to do something more present, something more new and affordable to everyone. That's where actually one of the part actually have to invest in cameras and laptops, and so actually people can have access to all those stuff, get the pictures, videos, the moments registered, all those kind of stuff in an affordable way, and also in a way that's not too fancy. And the other part was we have it's so the part of the media is called Together News. Actually, was a word that came from English that switched together. So that was actually bring everything and everybody to the same place instead of being selective. There's always been. And the second was to get a studios whereby just register those moments and all those kind of stuff. And the second part was to get a house games. So the idea was to actually make the new technology of gaming accessible to everyone. Today, the internet is kind of scarce in Cabinda. So what I did was trying to make those people experience also the technologies, because those stuffs are pretty much expensive and not everybody can afford it. And so that's what I thought, like, you know what, we can actually make this. So today we have people come play, like they have a space whereby people come play a PS5, they have VR technologies over there, PS4, Xboxes, all those stuff. So those kids, everybody, even old ages, come and experience all those new technology, which they cannot afford by themselves, So that's what the thing, like, make something that the new technology, the new word actually bring to the people in a more easily accessible way. So that's why I created that branch, which was just from gaming, was more entertainment part of this part of the company. So that's always kind of the three branches I was in. And also we have ASA group is an Angolan association, Angolan Solidarity Association, which I'm a president to. It's just association whereby each year or each season that we have opportunity, we just make donations, we help people. The last year been doing that. We went to a hospital, all those police cars, neighborhoods to feed people, get them clothes and all those things, like kind of an NGO, like just giving back to the community. The money we make, we will have a part from the company. We will have a part where we actually donate it to those people that are in those needy people. So the other question I'm asked was how actually get to lead from the distance. That's I think is one of the greatest challenge I have is actually to lead and manage that. And one of the things I learned about is that you don't get to be a boss or a manager. You have to be a leader. So why do I say that? If you're a manager,
yeah. Can you expand on that? What's the difference between being a boss and being a leader?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to right now.
Mm-hmm.
So from experience doing that, so manager basically is someone who actually say, hey, we need to do this A, B, C, and D, and this is the way you have to do it. So actually assigning people tasks that they have to do in a certain way that's the thing supposed to be done. So they just following up orders as the same thing as a boss, like, hey, we need to get this to the point A to the point B, and you just follow orders. So the other aspect of leadership for me was selling the vision to the people that work with you. So selling the vision this way, hey, this is what we want to achieve. And we hire people with certain expertise that they can actually get to the goal or get to the objective of the company or the objective of the certain project, but have to be done the way that they think or the way they know that it have to be done. So so instead of just me saying, hey, do this, and do that, it's like more like, hey, this is what we want to achieve. You are an expert in this area. You are the leader in this area. What do you think we can do? So was actually bringing people that are smarter than me to bring. We have the goal of have the purpose, and they bring all those ideas, and we put it together and put it in action. Because that's the vision I had. Because if I put myself in the position whereby I have to dictate what is have to be done, so the business or the vision, I will be the ceiling of the vision or the ceiling of the main goal of the company. So everything will be pretty much now go over me, and that's not what I wanted. So that's why I have to bring all those people together. They bring their ideas, they bring the expertise, and all of us who put that thing together, we can actually achieve greater things. So instead of me dictating what it has to be done, I sell them the idea. Hey, this is the idea. What do you think? Okay, we can do this, and that. So we have two minds, 3, 4, 5 people actually working, and I'm just there to make sure that those things are being done in a great way. So that's basically what I've done, and that's how the way of being managing and leading the staff from distance, pretty much.
Wow. Yeah, that's really amazing, and that's very impressive work that you have done over it for the people of Cabinda and the NGO part. That's one thing that a lot of organizations and a lot of companies don't think about. I was actually reading this past week. I was reading Mary Hunt in the 7 Money Rules of Life, and she's mentioning the importance of giving back, of donating, giving money away, even if you are at the brokest level of your life. Find the space to give money back. I was talking to my mom. I was telling her, do you know why America is such a successful country? Because here, a lot of pastors, actually, for a lot of churches that are successful, they don't go around telling people to give money. It's in the culture of American to give. Yeah. It's just, sometimes we use, a lot of critics, like in Africa, like they will come as a missionary or blah, 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 all that. When I see those critics, of course, there's a huge number of people who are ill-intentioned. But when it comes to giving back, Americans do give back. Americans give their 10% back to anything they feel like they should give. They are the most capitalistic people you can ever think about. But it seems to be like a law of nature in America to give back a certain percentage of what you are earning. Does it bring good luck? I don't know. Does it actually help or bring that money back in triple or quadruple? I don't know. But it seemed to be working, because America, until you prove me wrong, is still up there as one of the top countries in the world.
You know, one of the scriptures that I like, I think the Lord Jesus said that it's actually more blessed to give than to receive. And it's always amazing to see how much joy comes from giving. You know, it removes the spirit of stinginess, if I call it that way. But it just changes your perspective. It makes you think differently about life.
And as Mary Hunt put it, that for just a second part of your life, when you are broke, you are struggling, you are in debt, and you are going through a lot of stuff, for just the slim amount of seconds, you feel good about yourself.
Exactly.
When you give. You feel like you'll be broke, you'll be suffering and struggling. But that's slim. I'm almost done with the book. I love the book, and actually it's helping me grow a lot because I had so much to figure out and to fix in my finances. I'm already applying the book, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
I was already applying part of it earlier because I developed a software for personal budgeting, but now with this book, I actually now include giving back in my budgeting, which was not there before.
Right.
Well, it was implied, but it was not. It was not intentionally there. I'm gonna just continue here with Nunes again, and now I'm gonna switch toward personal development and what actually helps you grow. Starting from where you started is a freshman starting a company. Now we are talking about a year or 2 years into this business. How has your own personal development been helping, and what do you do to actually develop yourself?
Personal development for me has been actually helping me a lot. And what I've come up with is, as we all know, is like whenever we're trying to build something, they always have a first step, and is always the foundation of everything. Basically, let's say if we talk about a building or any project, anything, there's always a foundation. And what I've come to conclusion is like the personal development is the foundation of everything, because I have to thought like everything we do will actually depend on us. So if we want to achieve great thing, we have to become before we achieve, before we earn. We have to become. I recall one of the I was listening to Jim Rohn the other day say like, hey, in order things to change for you, you have to change first of all.
Yep.
So for me, it was like, hey, I gotta change first, and then that's actually things change for you, because some it's up like we have to align actually to certain things. It's like we have to synchronize to the stuff we want. And in order to, to synchronize on those frequencies that the stuff we want to achieve, we have to get to those sequences. And for me was, I had always been a big dreamer. And I was always thinking and talking about great stuff, great achievements. And I was actually not getting into there until I started thinking like, hey, I have to actually be doing stuff. In order to do those stuffs, I have to be somebody different. So that's where the personal development comes in. It's like, hey, you want to achieve those things, you have all those big dreams, you have all these ideas, but all is going to depend on the person you are. Depending on the person, that's what's gonna dictate, or it's gonna actually matters of the things I want to achieve. So that's what actually start coming into the place like, hey, you have to change yourself. That's how actually I start diving into the personal developments, listening to speakers, reading books, and all this kind of stuff. So it was actually very much in order to get all those business in order, to get all those my life together, was actually, hey, I have to prepare myself first of all. I have to prepare myself. I have to be in a great position. I have to be I have to achieve the highest potential as I can as a person myself. Then actually those things I can start now building those stuffs up. So for me, the foundation for myself and for my life was actually is like I established the personal development. So if I'm develop myself, and every other thing I want to do, I want to become, actually start adding up on what I'm already am. So the personal development pretty much came from like, hey, you need all those stuffs, but there's a gap. So in order to you to succeed and to get through the other side, you have to change. You have to change your mindset. You have to change your habits. You have to change pretty much everything in you, because you cannot expect to be doing the same thing and get different results. That doesn't happen. You have to actually change what you're doing and then get different results. So that's where pretty much where the personal development comes in. It's being really crucial to me. Like I have really to dig in every single day. I'm just trying to be as the better person, the better version of myself. So that's actually where the personal development came in me. Like I gotta now start working on that in order I have to achieve and be the greatest potential. And actually, the podcast of this week and today was to unlock your potential. And this all for me is like everything. Whenever I'm trying to see something, I always look back to personal development because I heard that there are things that quotes with listeners like. The person you will become the next 5 years depends on your habits, the book you read, and the people you hang around with.
Yep.
I was reading this book called the Power of Habits and the stuff we do in life and in business. Was actually explaining the habit loop, whereby we have a reward at the end of the thing, and then we have a click or a clinch, whereby we have like something that calls us, and then we have a reward at the end. So I was saying like the 50% of the stuff we do every day is automatically. We don't even have to think like to wake up and brush your teeth and do all those kind of stuffs. Everything is just based on our habits. So whatever you do is that whatever we have, I even wrote something a few days I was just thinking about, wrote something and I posted say like whatever we have is a result of what we think and what we do. So whatever we do and whatever we think, that's what we actually achieve. That's what that's what we actually conceive. So for me, it's like trying to wire those things up and trying to make all those things in perspective. What I think, what I'm doing, and actually trying to do more best and everything that's happened. That's where pretty much the personal development side of myself. That's actually pretty much where I put the base on everything is personal development. It's always me. I'm not blaming myself because I got out from this mindset of actually being a victim, victimizing myself, victimizing other people instead of my mistakes or whatever is not going wrong with me. So whenever I see anything, I have to count myself accountable. Hey, this is not going wrong. I always look up on me. Before I was looking up to the economy, looking up to people out there, the parents, the school, the system, whatever. So now I look at me. So whenever I see that hey, this is kind of off, like hey, give me more of that strength and it will give me the hunger actually to start striving myself and actually work more in the personal development.
I know that's you've made a very crucial point that I think we have time to return to in the future. How to escape the victimization of oneself. You know, coming from different backgrounds and coming from where you came from and the challenges that you had to overcome. We share a little bit more about that in the future. The journey about going from it's my responsibility, going from I'm the victim, this has happened to me, well I didn't choose all this, but to the mindset of this is my responsibility. And thank you so much for sharing that. I know we're already an hour and 25 minutes into this podcast. We try to wrap it up in the next 5 minutes, and it's just a lot to talk about with you guys. At some point I'm tempted to break it down into episodes, but this is definitely our final episode. Now let's wrap this up with this final question. Unbounded growth, how are we helping you, and what can we improve, if any?
Well, unbounded growth, first of all, when I heard about it, when Adam actually introduced it to me, I saw it really interesting. First of all, is because it was the idea of the podcast itself, and then also the people behind the project, because today, nowadays, in the internet age, whereby everybody's out there saying stuff that they're actually not doing, or they just come out and say whatever they want to. So from abundant growth was different because the people out there are people I know, and there are people and actually on the journey of actually doing great stuff. I'll give an example of Adam, actually somebody who's been actually inspiring me since we met, so seeing him back there and whereby like, hey, doing all those stuff and seeing like actually share all those stuff with you was really great. And other thing was actually the idea we have was actually of trying to summarize the book, to give the ideas of the book, because not every book not every book we have to read, and now all the books we're gonna read, there are books we're gonna read twice, there are books that we're not gonna finish to read, and there are books that we're now gonna touch. So the thing, because there are books that I'll go through and then I read like the half of the book and I have the whole idea of the book. I got it from there. So so what we've been doing is being great. I've been really great thing we'll be doing. How it is impacting me. in a way that, hey, have all those books, idea from other people, those authors, and the idea of the people who are trying to send a message on, depending on, basing on all the personal experience, from what they learn and from they see what we're doing, and actually kind of worry me like, hey, that's actually being, I'll say being becoming like a sponge. I'm just like getting everything, just swallowing everything, getting everything from the books you're reading, the points you're making, from the personal view, from the point of the book. So it's been really great being listening just to your both of you, been doing really a great job, and it's actually been impacting me. I would say that's one of the podcasts I've been really listening consistently. And one of the podcast was the last one that was really good for me, was to unlock your potential. A lot of times we have stuff we have to do, we have stuff within ourselves, but we don't put out there.
Right.
And that was like actually give me kind of a crank up, like, hey, wake up, you have a lot to give to the world, you have gifts, you have all those stuff, you have a lot to give to the world, so you gotta wake up and bring those stuff to people. That's why they say the graveyard is the richest place on earth, because there were dreams that didn't come true, books that never been written, like stuff, music that didn't come to life, and that one of person, like, I think I was listening to Les Brown the other day, say like, well, imagine if you stand up on your deathbed and all those ghosts of the ideas you should have made and all the plans, all the dreams come through it now. They say like, hey, you didn't take us to life, now we have to come to death with you. So this the bondage goal for the last 15 weeks is kind of being more awaken me towards what I've been aiming to get, and actually also changing myself. So it's really a great thing that been happening. So I would say really have been having a great impact in my life, personally.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nunes, for your time, guys. We already an hour and a half into this, and hey, there's a second season coming, and there is a lot more we have to share. Adam, any other last questions?
No, I think we've had a lot of content here that people will have to chew on slowly,
exactly,
and try to apply from books to companies. It's a lot of diversity on the topic, and I really look forward to listening to this.
Even myself, I'm looking forward. I'll definitely be listening to it again this week, just to to internalize the lessons that I've learned from you guys. And thank you so much for your time. So Paul, where can people join you? If people want to reach out to you, where can they join you, and where can they find your book?
Actually, the book in Portuguese is available on Amazon. But as the official, the language that would be the most accessible for the greatest amount of people will be English. I have decided to translate the book in English, and I will publish it on Amazon.
Okay.
Probably before the end of this year, the book will already be published and released. And for the version in English, I have reserved a surprise for the readers at the end.
All right.
So probably the only one book.
As soon as the book is out, let us know. We definitely post it on our Instagram page and make sure that we read the book. I definitely want to get my copy as soon as possible. I'm so excited and thrilled to read about it. So is there any social media platform where people can reach out to you if they want to talk to you?
Yeah, of course. I have an Instagram account.
Okay.
And definitely the only one official account I have. Instagram. I don't have Twitter. Of course, I have one, but I don't use it.
So what's your name? What's your name on Instagram?
My Instagram is Paul Tambwe 7.
So Paul Tambwe spelled Tambwe.
Exactly.
Got it.
Paul Tambwe 7.
Got it. Nunes, what about you? How can we reach out to you? How can our listeners reach out to you if they want to talk to you?
You can actually reach me out through Instagram or Facebook, and also follow me on TikTok. I'm trying to create a little content these days, so you can actually find me on those three social media platforms. It's just Nunes Sumbo, which is NUNES and SUMBO. So you can find me, DM me. Always open to actually meet great people. One of the things, like, just to meet with people that actually where I want to be, or people are aiming to go to where I'm trying to go. So I'm trying to work in that, just really have great environment. And whenever people reach out to me like, hey, let's work on the personal development together, have all these great conversations, it's always a pleasure.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, guys, for being here with us tonight. We truly appreciate your time. We appreciate the lessons and everything that you share with us. And thank you to everybody that has been listening to us for the last 15 weeks. Thank you so much for responding to the survey. We've got our 45 answers right now. We still need 5 more. Our goal is to reach at least 50 responses and to evaluate to see what are the content, what are the things that we will approach in our next season. And as we say, we are trying to work hard so that we can have to host some guests on video, and we continue with our weekly podcast. There's a bunch of amazing books that we are looking forward to review in our second season. If you have any suggestions, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us to info@theunboundedgrowth.com. Again, our emails info@theunboundedgrowth.com. We are on Instagram, and I think the page is the Unbounded Growth on Instagram. You can tell that I'm not on Instagram. I don't have an Instagram account. They troll me every day because of that. But yeah, it's a personal choice I've made. But yeah, we also have a few live shows on Instagram, and for the first time, we are going to start having some shows in French. I know our French audiences
definitely
have been definitely asking for some shows in French. So we're going to have to be hearing some episodes in French. But again, thank you very much for having been with us. If you want to support us financially, visit our official page at www.theunboundedgrowth.com. We're on YouTube. If you are listening to us on YouTube, hit the button subscribe and like, turn on the notification bell. If you are on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or Stitcher or Amazon Music, just click on subscribe and follow so that you don't miss any notification on any content. Until next season, we will be hearing our next episode on October 3rd. That will be when we will complete October 3rd, I believe. That should be 3 weeks from today. Yeah, October 4th, actually. That's when our first episode for the second season we hear. But in the meantime, follow us on Instagram and follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter account will be coming up soon. Adam, we work on that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll look into it. Yeah, and I'm actually considering. I've been tempted by TikTok lately because I feel like such a huge audience. If you look at a lot of people listen to us, they are a lot of the TikTok generation.
Absolutely.
So I've been tempted into whenever we are in video, probably gonna.
Yeah, we have a TikTok account, and we are here for we want to inspire your growth. We want to help you grow. We want to be there in the journey with you, but we also want to raise the leader in you. How can you become a leader? And next season we definitely review some books on leadership. John Maxwell has an amazing book, The 5 Levels of Leadership, and I cannot wait to dive into that book. An amazing book. So we'll be talking about that as well. If you have any question, if you need any information, do not hesitate again to reach out to us at www.theunboundedgrowth.com. Until next time and until next season, God bless you and have an amazing week. Bye-bye.